So the best business as mission conferences are not always easy to find, but when you know where to look, it changes everything. A lot of people that go to conferences sometimes waste their investment in the conference. And so I want to give you 5 learning tips and 5 networking tips that are probably going to change the way you show up at the next conference. I'm going to give you my list of some favorite conferences as of 2026 of the recording of this video, and then I'm also going to leave you with a couple roles for you to think about before you walk in to maximize your time there on the ground. So by the end of this video, you're going to understand how to find business as mission events or conferences. You're going to maximize the way that you show up to those conferences and probably make some connections that you didn't think that you could make just by going to the conference. I've been to more than 20 conferences for Business as Mission over the last 15 years. And some of the conferences now I help actually run, and others I speak at. And I want to share with you a prayer that I pray before I go. Sounds a little bit something like this. Lord, I know that there's so many connections and people I could make. Help me not be anxious, but help me trust you for the connections and the relationships that you want me to walk away with. So show me the 5 or 10 relationships that I really need from this conference, right? Something simple. And you know what? Some of those relationships are where you are the one doing more of the giving. Maybe God wants to connect with you as somebody where you're going to be the one mentoring and pouring into. Other times you're going to find peers and sometimes mentors or co-laborers in the work. So that's a prayer I love praying. Here's where I'm about to give you the 10 tips that I have to maximize your conference experience, starting with the first 5 learning tips. Here we go. Tip number 1, which conference has the kind of speakers and people that I really want to learn from and learn with? If we look at Proverbs here, it tells us in Proverbs 13 that those who walk with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. So the question really is, who is at this conference and are they wise? That's a little bit hard to tell unless you go and watch a couple maybe previous conferences where they spoke, maybe YouTube videos, or look at their blogs or books that they've authored. But start by looking who's speaking at the conference. Tip number 2, this is a real telltale sign of the quality of the conference. Look at the number of exhibitors and also the type of exhibitors. If you're looking in most of the exhibitors at a conference, you're saying, wow, I don't really want to get to know those organizations, probably says something about the conference and the audience attendance that you might also not like. So look at the exhibitors and see, are the exhibitors organizations that you would want to learn from? Yes or no? Tip number 3, download the conference app and make sure you know that schedule well before you show up. Usually you'll get a conference outline. If it's a great conference, it's oftentimes going to have a schedule. You need to spend some time digging through that and figure out which of the sessions matter the most to you. It will make a difference in how you use your time or maybe accidentally squander your time. So that is tip number 3. Tip number 4 is ask questions during the Q&A. Most sessions and conferences will give time for the audience to ask their questions. So look with me at Proverbs and see what Proverbs has to say about getting wisdom by asking questions. It says here in Proverbs 4, wisdom is supreme, so get wisdom. And whatever else you get understanding. What's a great way to get understanding when you have a really smart person, hopefully a faithful person leading a session? Come with a smart question. Ask them maybe even a dumb question, but the point is don't just sit back and let other people get a front row seat at wisdom when you have the opportunity to get it yourself. Also, I like going up to those people after they speak. Get their card, shake their hand, introduce yourself. You never know where that introduction can go. All right, tip number 5, I just slipped it in there on accident, so this is me sharing 2 tips in one, but it is introduce yourself to the speakers. I just looked at my notes and went, oh man. But that is what you should do. When someone speaks and they walk off the stage, sometimes there's like a mountain or crowd of people around them. But hey, a lot of times those people, they'll give you a few more minutes. They're already fired up about the topic, and that's a great time to engage them and go a little bit deeper or say, hey, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? right? Sometimes those little follow-ups turn into lifelong relationships or mentor relationships. You never know. So go up and talk to those people. Be bold, spend some time. And also, instead of creating a line, see if it's not too awkward to create a bit of a circle or a semicircle so that it's a little bit more collaborative and not like, oh, I got to wait in the 16-person line to have a conversation. All right, let's go to the networking tips here. For tip number 6 is, who are you going to bring with you to the conference? I love this. I've tried this over the years for many different people, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes God has someone else he wants you to meet, and that will become your conference buddy. But if you can find somebody that already cares about Business's mission or this conference, bring them along with you, because you'll get to have someone else to divide and conquer and see 2 different sessions. You'll have a second person to say, hey, what did you hear from that speaker? And they might have heard something totally different from what you heard. So bring a brother or sister along, or if you're married, a husband or spouse along with you, and find somebody who can enjoy the conference with you. All right, digital networking. This is the tip number 7, is in the app. Many times there will be a place to start discussion threads. This is actually how Pragma Advisors got started, a group that I started about, 9 years ago now. It was from me starting a group thread saying, who wants to invest in businesses, meet with me at this time. And I just kind of put my name out there, and we had 15 people that joined the thread and said, oh, that's interesting, and showed up. And so out of a conference, I was able to create a network just by posting and creating some momentum around a topic that other people wanted to talk about too. So think about using those digital spaces as a way to gather people. Okay, tip number 8. A lot of conferences out there still struggle with making good connections with people. So yes, there are ways to connect with people on some conference apps, but hey, a good old-fashioned way is grab your phone, snap a picture of their name badge, and sometimes it's even good if you come back and take a selfie with them and say, hey, can you hold your name badge up in there? And it's kind of funny, right? But hold your name badge up, you take a picture like that, boom, and you both hold your names up. And it's a simple way to remember the fun conversation you had with that person. So take a picture with a name badge. That's a simple way. Make sure you get their permission first. Otherwise, it's a little awkward. Okay, tip number 9. This is your networking tip number 4, and it is to connect with people immediately. When people give you their information, like LinkedIn or a text message or an email, just drop them a short thing. When you're meeting lots of people, it's important to capture, like, yes, here's a person, here's an initial conversation. Even if it's later that night, you might be tired. Do the hard work of sending out 2 or 3, 4 messages, maybe 6 or 10 messages if you're a super networker at the end of the day, just real quick messages. Hey, I'd love to follow up more on this topic. Send and connect more immediately. That will drastically improve your ability to follow up with people at a conference. Now, when you have a big flurry of connections, it's the last tip I have for you, tip number 5 and tip number 10, if you're keeping track, is come up with a priority list. Who are the most interesting connections? Maybe reflect back on that prayer at the beginning. God, who do you want me to spend more time with? Right? He's the Lord of your life anyway, right? Why don't you ask him to say, who should I have that follow-up meeting with? Who should I spend some more time with? Who needs more time for me that I need to spend some time and walk with someone and maybe pursue someone to try to help them with an issue or a connection that I can help with them. So prioritize the list of people and start to make a short list so you can keep business. I still keep business cards. I'm a fan of business cards for that reason. But make sure you prioritize who you want to follow up with and see how God answered that prayer that we prayed at the beginning. Okay, there are 5 conferences I want to tell you about. And we're going to start with the ones that I have a little bit more experience with and move down the line. But here are Business's Mission conferences that you should consider checking out. Business for Transformation Expo by Open USA. It happens usually in the United States, different cities every year. Go check that out. It's called the B4T Expo if you're just doing a Google search. The next one is the Trellis Global Summit. Go check that one out. That one happens usually in Washington, D.C. Very interesting set of speakers, a little bit of a different ethos than the B4T Expo, but very solid as well, very biblically and church-centered. It's a good conference to be at. Next is BAM Global. Online, they have this global online conference that happens usually in the spring every year. That's a great one because you get a lot of people from around the globe that can join together in the conference and participate. They do a really great job running a global conference with different sessions for Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. The 4th conference is the BAM conference in North America, which stopped for a few years and it's just starting back up here in 2026 and 7. that I think will be in Vancouver, Canada for BAM North America. So that's a great conference you should also check out. And finally, the fifth conference you really should consider is the Forge Global Summit, which usually happens more I'll say in Africa or in Eastern Europe. And that's been a conference only the last, I think, 3 or 4 years now. It's primarily people from the nations that are developing, that are leading and casting national vision for their nation. And so it's a really powerful business as mission conference to consider as well. Now, if you're searching for conferences here, there's something that you might not hear at these conferences unless you find me, yours truly, at the conference talking about it. But it is the 3 roles that every business as mission company needs to succeed. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I've linked the video right here for you so you can learn which role is the most natural for you to plug into, which will help you get more out of those conferences when you go to them. So feel free to check that out, and hopefully I'll see you at a conference.